In this video, we're going to be working on two Benz key fobs that came in for repair by two different customers. And the first one is a 2005 C230 Benz key fob. The customer said fob does not lock, unlock, or open the trunk. So this one is coming from Ohio. And let's take a look at the fob and see what's going on. We'll finish this one and then maybe we can do the other one in the same video. Both fobs, they appear to look the same. The black fob, not the chrome one, not the triangular one on the panic button. So we have a lot of donor boards for those. Let's take a look and see what's going on. Okay, so right off the bat, we see corrosion, possibly liquid damage. Look at the corrosion here, corrosion here. Oh yeah, look at this. This cap is gone. We have to replace this guy, possibly this guy also. Clean up the chip. Make sure all the pins are solid and corrosion did not separate the solder from the pin. Put the light down a bit. And it looks like my NorthridgeFix brush is already used up. I've had this on my bench for maybe the past couple of months, maybe like 6 months, and I use it every single day. So the bristles, here. I can still use it, okay? Let's see the difference between a new one, because how do you know it's time to replace the brush? That's how a new brush looks like, and that's how a used up brush looks like. It's like the one they use to clean the streets with. Okay, so let's use the new one. Whatever tools you need, anything from this amazing microscope that we are currently using, the NorthridgeFix latest and greatest, the articulating arm that holds the microscope, the ring light, anti-glare light, the brush, our NF.Flux, braid wig, tweezers, thermal camera, one-stop shop. Some items are out of stock, but we are working on it to get the items back in stock ASAP. Just a quick cleanup. And I'm using 99% isopropyl. Anything above 92% is okay, or above 91% is okay. Do not buy isopropyl that they sell at some stores, 70% or lower. It contains a lot of water. You want over 90%. You see how the brush did an amazing job? It removed all the corrosion from the board. And with the right tools, the job becomes easier. What I see here is a bit weird because fobs do not use thermal paste or whatever this is. Where did this come from? So while at it, let's test and make sure the coil is good, because coils on Benz key fobs are notoriously known to fail or to break. that tiny wire can break and it breaks the circuit, or that coil could break off the motherboard. I have countless number of videos going over this issue. Since what? Since like 7-8 years ago. We fix those fobs every day. Good. So the coil is good. The bottom part of the coil is not making a connection. It's only a placeholder, so it can hold the coil down in place. The infrared transmitters, they look good. One here and one on the back. No issue, no problem. So let's start with front of the board. Focus and look at the details. We can see the texture of that board. That's what happens when you have a good quality microscope. We can increase the brightness. And now we have corrosion on both chips still, right? You want to remove the corrosion because corrosion could cause short circuit. Corrosion between pins can actually cause short circuit between the pins. Okay, so the pin is solid. We do not need to do anything here. The pin is solid. Let's use this tool, which you can also find on our site. I believe it's called needle probe. Look at how fine that needle probe is. It comes in very handy when you are testing pins compared to your tweezers or whatever tool you use. And you can even go between pins. Good. And for this one, we're going to be using our NF.mini solder pen. And the pen has capacitive touch, so the skin must be touching the button on it to turn on. As soon as you release your finger from the pen, from the button, it will turn off the soldering pen. And that's a good feature because you do not wear out the tip quick. Sometimes you tend to forget the pen on. So if your skin is not on the button, the tip is going to turn off the pen. But the thing is, I'm wearing gloves. And to activate the solder pen, I need to cut off the front of the glove. And that's why in a lot of videos you see me with my finger bare, no glove. I cut that piece so I can touch the button on the NF.mini pen. Right now we do not have Flux on the board, but we are working with a 2-layer board. Let's see if we can do it without Flux. We're going to have to apply Flux eventually. So let's do it. NF.flux. Fume extractor on. We're going to tin the pads. If you look here, I have loads and loads of Benz key fobs because we work on Benz fee fobs. We work on Benz key fobs every single day. A lot of those fobs I purchased. I purchased in bulk. After I started making videos on Benz key fobs since a long time ago, they suddenly became expensive to buy. Now it's like $40, $50 for one fob. A broken fob, not a working fob. So let's see if we can grab the capacitor from this one. Do we have the capacitor here? And it looks like I used the cap from this board. What about this one? We do have the cap on this one. The board is a bit dusty, but the cap is good. What about this one? Let's use this one, okay? Now the cap we can remove with our hot air station, or we can simply remove it with our soldering iron. we are dealing with a 2-layer board. So it's not a big deal. Right, very nice. Now this could be done with the hot air station, but we have to be careful not to burn this rubber piece. We have a button here. We have a trunk button here, rubber also. And the board overall is fragile. Let's replace this guy also. We're gonna go back to our ring light, and you can see how the view is different from the ring light to the anti-glare light. You see different perspective of the board, a different image. With the ring light, we can tell that the cap is damaged. With the anti-glare light that removes reflections and glare, you cannot really tell, or you can, but with the ring light, it's more obvious. So we always use a combination to our advantage. We use one or the other, or a combination, so we can see from different angles. Let's look at the other fob and see if we have that component. And we do. And for this one, we're going to use our hot air station. And let me put something under the fob so we do not end up burning the mat more than it's already burnt. It's not much about the burning, but the smell. So I put a board holder under. Just a tiny bit of flux. And we are done. What else? So everything on this side of the board looks good now. Okay, so one tiny mistake I did. I soldered the cap in the wrong position. It should be from here to here and not from here to here. No problem. That's why you have to check your work and make sure everything is done proper. Mistakes like this can easily happen because you have 3 dots right next to each other. Let's use hot air and make sure not to point in this area. We're gonna point barely on the side of the board. We're going to apply a tiny bit of flux. And very nice. So I compared with another board, and that's the way it should be. So you as a technician in the future, if you came across something like this, you automatically know. I watched Alex's video, and this cap should be the first 2 dots automatically. Knowledge is power. So we are done from this side of the board. Let's check the back. And I'm looking at the traces. I do not want to see any corrosion on the traces or any break in the lines. And 10 out of 10. No issues. We're gonna test the fob frequency and infrared. We do not have the car to test, of course, but 90% of the time, if we have frequency, we have infrared, the fob is good. And we want to see the red LED blink when we press on the button. Okay, so we're gonna grab Amtech wipes, our NorthridgeFix brush, just a quick cleanup. We're gonna do the same on the back. And how much is a Benz key fob? If you want to go to a dealership and get one, I always ask my customers, did you try to go to a dealership? Yes. Why didn't you do it there? Because they're asking $800, because they're asking $700, because they're asking $1,200. It looks like every dealership charges different or based on the year of the vehicle. And one person told me he could not even get a key fob for his 1992 or 1993 Mercedes-Benz, even if he paid for it. They have to change the whole ignition system along with the fob. And that's why we still get those flip keys. Customers cannot even get them. I do not know how it works, but that's what customers tell me. And Benz key fobs at some point, and we get those sometimes where when you press on the lock button, unlock, or the trunk, the light blinks twice. When the light blinks twice and not once, it means the fob reached the end of its life. Because the firmware chip that you have on the fob can handle up to, let's say, 300,000 clicks. After that, it's done. I'm optimistic that everything is gonna be good because the fob looks good. So reassemble the fob. And are we gonna see a light? And yes, but the light alone is not enough. Where's my fob tester? I have two fob testers and I cannot find them. Right here. Okay. So we have a fob tester here that tests for frequency and infrared, and we want to make sure all the buttons are working. And as you can see, I have a metal plate behind it, so we do not get any interference. If I removed the metal plate, you're gonna see fluctuations because of all the equipment that we have here. Okay, so infrared, it's working. Let's try button 2, the trunk. Press and hold. Perfect. We're gonna go for the lock button. Is the lock button working? Lock button is working. And we're gonna go for the panic button. Okay, and the panic button is working. Now we want to test frequency. We should get something like 314.9 to be exact. So press on the unlock, 314.9. We're gonna press on the trunk, 314.9. Okay. I need to have the fob pointing inside. Lock button, 314.9, and the panic button, okay, 314.9. Okay, the fob is fixed. This one is done, and we're gonna check what's going on with the second fob. Maybe we'll do both in one video. So this one came in with a green tag. A lot of times those tags, we got key fob with tags that belongs to a dealership. So take out the key, and we're gonna use the key to open the fob. Press on the side and remove. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. Now look at this, the same exact cap damaged on this board. And how did this happen? Very common. A customer tries to replace the battery on the fob. Let me show you. The motherboard goes inside the housing, right? Now, if you want to remove the motherboard, you need to pry that motherboard out. They grab a plier or a tweezer to remove that board. And in the process, what happens is they damage components. They do not know that there's a tiny component here. Maybe they pushed it with a plier or tweezer to remove the board. And that's how this one probably happened. And you can see how the trace is scratched. So it means they tried to get something inside that scratched the trace. The trace is not broken, but it's scratched. And we can resolder this cap, no problem. We do not see corrosion, no liquid damage. Oh, look at this. What? We also have the same exact two components that we replaced on the first fob. This and this. Are you kidding me? Except that this fob does not have liquid damage or corrosion. And let's replace this component also. It's discolored. I do not like the way it looks. I do not want the fob to come back to us as not working. So anything that we suspect is bad, we're gonna replace. And back of the board looks good, no problem. Yeah, that's nothing. Exactly the same two components. I cannot believe it. I thought this one would be more interesting, but what can you do? We have more fobs that we need to fix, but I'm not gonna include them in this video. We have a BMW fob, we have a Range Rover, we have an Audi, and we have ton loads of Benz key fobs that we need to go over. Some of those key fobs have a triangular panic button, and I spoke a lot about those. Almost always we need to fix broken pads under a BGA chip, on the chip and on the board, both. And I have a video, maybe I'll link down in the description, where we fixed a BGA chip, broken pads under the chip, and broken pads on the board. Tiny microscopic pads. Let me grab another key fob and see if we can find that component. And yes, we have it right here. But before I solder it, we need to prep the board. Some flux. And the solder that we have on the board should be enough. See what happens when we do not have our anti-glare light on. But I do not have three hands. One hand I'm holding the hot air station, the hot air gun, and the second hand I'm holding my tweezers. And while at it, let's do the third component. And this one we have to be careful. We cannot apply hot air, or we cannot come too close, because we're gonna end up burning the infrared transmitter, which is plastic, and we're gonna end up burning that plastic, the rubber on the button. Just barely heat on the edge of the board. Barely. Barely applying heat. See? Gentle like a baby. Do we have that component on this donor? And we do. Let's grab it. And we do not want to confuse the donor with the customer's board. X. So let's test. We're gonna put the board in the housing and the battery. Do we have a blink? Yes, we do have a blink. Do we have IR? And we do. Trunk? We do. Lock? We do. And panic? We do. Frequency? 314.9. 314.9. Okay, 314.9. And panic button 314.9. And that concludes the repair for 2 fobs. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll do something else in the next video.
Better than